Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Ancient Legends Challenge. In the last episode, Melodine and Reezy teamed up to outsmart the Balance Bears together. They led them far away from their family, which allowed for Ace and Nina and Nana to all escape into the much safer grasslands. Now they need to find a way to reunite, because it would appear as if summer is slowly starting to lose its grasp upon the mountains. It is definitely colder here than it was before, but we've been waiting for this moment for quite some time now. I'd imagine that the snow is probably right around the corner. With Sydney so close to the end of her lifespan, her powers must be starting to dwindle. As she prepares to pass away, the summer is just fading from her claws. But luckily she has the support of plenty of her family members to keep her warm during this time. Even Birch is going to be passing away soon too. I think it's quite fitting that they'll both be passing on the very same day. But before we move Birch to her side, I think Emma is going to try to snatch up this little bunny. She's far too excited to go bunny hunting with her big sister Scotia. She wouldn't be able to resist leaving that bunny behind. But with those extra berries, we'll have Birch spend some time with his mate, warming her up against the harsh chill of the winter to come. That is another benefit to having such a large family, and that's why they made very good use of the summertime. Now they even have little grandchildren to watch after, so we better make sure that we're collecting plenty of food for the winter. Little Panda actually has the digging paw just like his mother, so they might be pretty good candidates for food collecting once the snow does get rid of all of our bunnies. We can scoot Butterby over here to dig up this root and show her son how it's done. That way he'll be all prepared to take on the duty himself. Now I think Daisy will probably return to this tree to help them collect these acorns, but Hero has his sights set on a different tree in the distance. He wants to go where there's not quite so many creatures crowding the area. We'll have Night follow in his shadow. Hero was the one who kind of lured her out of the nest when she was very young, so I suppose it makes sense that she would want to continue that old tradition. Have one more grand adventure with her big brother. Little do they know, of course, this isn't going to be quite the secluded area they were hoping for. Our summer court has already claimed this tree as their own. Oh, wait a second. They have a healing fruit back here? Oh, I didn't even know healing fruits could spawn on the mountains. Now that's quite interesting. Clearly it would be the ghosts of winter who smelled it first, because our digging trunk creatures, with their big noses and everything, didn't notice that sweet exotic aroma in the grasses. Do you think they would try to claim it as their own though, if they do notice that it's there? Right now, Nana and Nina are just trying to be the leaders that the summer court needs, because their father is getting a little bit too old for the job. Ace has definitely slowed down, but more than that, I feel like his worry for his daughter is causing him to always look over his shoulder, hoping that she might return. A leader just can't lead his kingdom if he's always focused on the past. And I think deep down, Ace realizes that too. So until Reezy returns, he's going to leave the big decisions to his other daughters. We must have unlocked the big snout too. It looks like something new is inside our mutation menu. Oh, it actually wasn't. It was the digging paw instead. Oh, I assumed that we had maybe explored enough of that tall grass, but the digging paw is just as helpful. I would like to mutate that onto our digging trunks, because then we'll have plenty of food to keep us healthy in the winter. I think that Reezy might want to try to find her babysitter though. We haven't seen Big Don out here in such a long time. Oh my gosh, there he is right now? Oh, he was way over here the whole time. What a relief. I thought maybe he was trying to take matters into his own hands and lead that balance bear even further away from the babies. But of course he wouldn't be far behind Nina and Nana. He's just scouting around in the darkness to make sure they don't have any dangers to worry about. Big Don is always looking out for us. Well, that's all the more reason for Reezy and Melodine to hightail it over to the summer court again. I figured they might take the scenic route to see if they could figure out where he was hiding, but now there's no reason for them to stay out longer than needed. But it looks like you guys have plenty of bunnies to keep yourselves busy, but Topaz would probably be better off digging up the roots up here, and maybe having another baby with this Messy too, while they still have the chance to settle down more nests. I'm a little bit concerned that the bear hyena is going to catch their scent, especially while the babies are still so young, as Messy is going to have to set some very strict ground rules for her babies. This area is off limits. It's the bear hyena's territory, so that tree is forbidden for them to play around. I'm sure eventually one of her children will get a little bit too curious, but at least we don't have to worry about Daria. She would be much happier bathing in the hot springs, picking up her berries, if these pesky bunnies don't eat every last one of them first. Oh my goodness, are you really taking a bath in there too? Now the bunnies are just teasing you, Daria. With her timid nature, they don't think that she's strong enough to take them down. Let's scoot Scotia over here for now, just so she'll be kept warm too, and she can make sure that Emma is also nice and toasty warm between her and her parents. Now I suppose you guys ought to follow your nose down to those tasty roots, and that's going to lead you very, very close to the healing fruit as well. It looks like Big Don might actually be leading the babies over to it. Maybe that was part of his master plan? He's almost kind of like the mediator between these two families, bringing them together for better or for worse. It almost feels like history is going to repeat itself here. Kind of like when Sydney and Birch first met. They were also very, very suspicious of each other, but after it started to snow, they realized that they had to come together instead. Arguments will get you nowhere once it starts to snow. But look at this little baby. He has beautiful flowery spots. Oh no, but he doesn't have the hammer tail. He's only carrying it in his inactive traits. At least he does have the poison fangs too. That's something that I do want to consider pulling into our genetics, mostly because we have so many poison berries in the area. But luckily it seems like the bear hyena hasn't caught scent of us yet, so Daria, you better scoop up your berries and then try your best to swipe up the bunnies as they skitter around your hot springs. Honestly, she's living the life. She doesn't have to worry about being too cold, she has plenty of berries to eat, and she even has a little bit of bunny meat too. But the next name on my list is Aspen, so welcome to our tribe, little one. And I'm sure you'll be good at bunny hunting too, but with that nice big claw of yours. So I think it's time that Topaz and his Messy tried to carve out a safer area for their children to play. If they don't want them to get curious and start exploring the tree, then they better have a good safe alternative for them soon. If nothing else, this will be a pretty good training ground where they can teach their babies how to hunt down the bunnies. Oh, Big Don, are you getting curious about our ghosts of winter? I'm not sure if that's the best place for you to go exploring. I am a little bit worried that they would turn on you. They don't share quite the same admiration of the walrus deers as our summer court does. So if you're not careful, you might just meet their claws instead. We have so many able hunters up here. I don't think they would let a meal that big get away from them, especially because they've never experienced the walrus deers before. So this is something brand new to our Ghost of Winter. Hero and Knight are a bit too distracted to worry about the walrus deer, because they see this healing fruit in the distance. And with Knight starting to succumb to the cold, keeping her safe would be the first thing on Hero's mind. So perhaps he'd have her settle down inside this nest, just as a safe place to rest her head. As he scoots closer to the tree too, only to discover that they're being watched by the Digging Trunk sisters. So here is certainly where their suspicion would begin. Are they only here to steal their resources? To steal their most precious healing fruit? The hero's only concerned with making sure that his sister doesn't freeze. So maybe he'll offer up some of these acorns, a new and delicious treat, and plead with the sisters to let them stay here because his sister is far too weak to move. Maybe we could have Nina scoot her way to her side to inspect this creature for herself, to make sure their healing fruit is still safe and untouched, so they can rest assured that these strangers aren't lying. I'd imagine the summer court would take their food collecting very seriously, so maybe with the new taste of acorns on their mind, they might offer to strike a deal with Hero. If he can collect them all of those tasty, delicious acorns, then they'll let his family stay, and they'll find a way to nurse Knight back to health too. Now, is Ace doing okay back here? It looks like he is not starting to get cold yet. And thank goodness too. That means that Meladine and Reezy are also going to be okay. So now he should be able to see them making their way down the shore. And his heart must be soaring right now. Let's have him run out to greet her. This reunion has been quite a long time coming, and Ace has always had a bit of a soft spot for his very first daughter. Looks like the balance bear is still nowhere to be found, so Ace is proud as can be. He knew that Reezy was destined for great things. That's why he trusted her to go to that meeting at the top of the mountain when she was still very, very young. But oh, Big Ton, you are really playing with fire here. Luckily, Daisy is a bit too distracted, and a little bit too cold too. Maybe we ought to bring Storm, Sky, and Daisy together so they can warm up with their family. Oh, Big Don, he's trying to warm them up too. I'm sorry, big guy, but it's not going to work. We need one of our own tribe mates to take up the space instead. I wonder if he's investigating the tiny babies in the nest. Maybe John Panda has his interest right now. He just wants to adopt all of our mountain babies. Well, a walrus deer has to be a pretty interesting sight for such a young and impressionable kid. So let's have him toddle his way out of the nest, which gives us just enough room to have Butterbee scoot her way between her mate and Daisy. Now all of these creatures should be nice and toasty warm, so they can go back to collecting food for the babies. But if you take another step too close, Big Don, then Emma is likely to launch herself across the cliffs and go in for the attack. In fact, I think it's quite likely that her eagerness might be getting the best of her. She wants to be just as good of a hunter as her big sister Scotia after all, so this would be a pretty good way to prove her worth. Her excitement scared him away, for now at least, but something tells me he's gonna come right back. Alright Emma, I guess now is your chance. This is going to be quite the lesson for Big Don, that not all of our tribes are so friendly as our sweet summer court. He still doesn't want to believe it. He's sticking right next to the babies, as if they're going to shield him from Emma's claws. Well, unfortunately for you, Big Don, the ghosts of winter aren't looking for another friend, so you'll have to find shelter in that warm and familiar grass. All in all, I feel like this would definitely bring pride to both Birch and Sydney. On their very last days, they can see that they've trained a wonderful group of hunters that can not only take down the walrus deer, but would be just as likely to combat the balance bears at the peaks. But with that, I think we might be out of moves that we can make. So now it's time for us to say goodbye to our king and our queen of the seasons, as they pass the crown over to their capable children. Storm Sky always seemed like a spring baby to me, especially with all of those stormy clouds on his fur. His name fits him quite well. Scotia, on the other hand, has always struck me as a creature who would be a little bit more attuned to the winter. And then her little sister Emma, because she looks so much like her mother, of course, with that lovely golden fur. She definitely seems like a creature of the summertime weather. So I feel like it's pretty fitting that these two travel around in pairs so often. Wait a second. Is somebody loitering in our hot springs? Well, Scotia, this might be the perfect time for you to investigate. She was getting a little bit cold anyway. Hello, little one. Oh, you look like you might be a creature of the summer, too. She even has the fishing tail? Or she would anyway if not for that spiky body. No wonder she's spending time in the hot springs. She must be really, really cold. Our spiky body creatures were never very good at withstanding the cold temperatures. Well, if you could call one of your siblings over here, maybe we could invite her to the tribe. That means Emma is going to have to pull herself away from the hunt, as much as I know that she would hate to do so. She is really not too impressed with Big Don's persistence. But it looks like you may have made friends anyway. I guess Ariela isn't quite as shy as some of our other porcupine creatures. You two seem to have made some pretty fast friends. We might as well have Emma join you guys nonetheless, as Big Don follows in your shadow? Either he's trying to get over here to our little panda, or he seems to have taken quite a shining to you. Maybe it's that golden fur after all? He assumes that you are one of the summer court that he loves so much, which makes your betrayal all the more heartbreaking for Big Don. Well, I suppose all we can do is knock down some more acorns to collect, and maybe John Panda and Butterbean might be able to scout around for some extra roots. Let's bring them into the grasses, where it's a little bit more likely that they might have spawned, because we haven't been exploring down here yet before. But back to you, Rila. It seems like she's been out here in the darkness for quite some time. She's a bit of an older creature, so she doesn't have too much longer left on her lifespan. And maybe that means she made a home down here. Maybe there's more for us to explore than we realized. It looks like we do have some berry bushes and bunnies, so we might as well take a quick sniff around the grass, just to see if there might be any little hidden glaciers that we can pick up too. Once we're sure that all of this grass has been explored, then we can move on to our next mountain. So it's the perfect time to call Gabby into the tall grass to see if she can do a little bit of extra hunting, just like her mother, catching meat for her baby brother and keeping Daria's berry bushes safe. This area is actually right up against some other ports, so I don't think we have to explore this tall grass, but there's still the grass right by the stream that could potentially house a little secret too, so we'll keep our eyes open nonetheless. Now let's have Aspen toddle his way after his mother, perhaps hoping to swipe up a few bunnies of his own once he's old enough, but they'll have to keep their eyes to the darkness, because they are very, very close to where that Bergina has called home. Now it looks like Night is feeling a lot better. Well, I guess the Digging Trunk sisters worked their magic. And now you two have to uphold your end of the bargain. I think the two sisters are definitely starting to warm up to him too. Maybe we could even consider starting a little family between them all. He does have the Digging Trunk in his genetics, so it would be a great way for us to continue their digging line. That way we'll have some brand new digging trunks to take to the next island. But with Meladine and Reezy safe and sound at home, I suppose all that's left to do is just clean up this place a little bit. There is definitely far too much grass in the area for them to move around freely, and now they should be able to keep track of those berry bushes too. So I think we're all out of turns again. We should be ready to skip the day. We'll zoom in over here to make sure that nothing dangerous is going to spawn looking for Rila. At least it seems like she didn't have any bad guys on her trail. I guess she really is just a calm, lazy soul of summer who likes to spend all of her time basking peacefully in the hot springs. And she wanted to show Scotia and Emma how to relax too. I guess it's because they're always so worked up about hunting. We've never known them to just kick back and relax when there's so many bunnies that they could be chasing on the mountains instead. So it was definitely a nice break. but it looks like it's already back to work for our little duo. I guess Rila could always open up these tranquil hot springs to the rest of their family too, since some of our cracker jaws do still seem to be struggling with the colds. It might be nice to give them a place to warm up when their work is done. So we'll send Mr. Panda, curious as ever, through the tall grass, so he can check out these hot springs for himself, while his mother returns to her mate's side, if just to check on his health. We might have them breed again too. Another baby would certainly help them stay alive in this colder weather. Now let's make sure that we're breeding our brand new era of digging chunks too. We'll just have to adjust Nana's mutation menu to keep that blindness out of her baby's traits. And then I definitely want to place the digging paw into Hero's menu, so we can breed the ultimate diggers. I feel like they will need a little bit more strength on their side, so we'll go ahead and place the ram horns into both of their slots too, just for the added little point in strength, because if they are going to scavenge the mountains for roots, we already know what sort of dangers they'll find. The tree might be a pretty decent place for a nursery. We do have just enough nesting material for both of their nests, so go ahead and place one down right under the oak tree, so Hero can gather up all of those delicious acorns for all of your babies. We'll have Night come over here and knock down some more, because while she might not like the taste herself, she's certainly powerful enough to rattle them from the branches. I'm just so happy that Ace was able to reunite with his daughter right before he passed away. He's on the very last day of his lifespan, so we'll settle him high atop the hill overlooking the land, so we can gaze down on this new era for our summer court. Unfortunately, I don't think Melodine would even know her siblings. Night and Hero were born long after she had left for the mountains, so she might not recognize that they're all part of the same Ghosts of Winter. Unfortunately, I don't think she even knows that her mother and father have passed, so I wonder if a trip back home would do her some good. If Arizi wanted to tag along, that might also give her the chance to see Big Don again, though she's not going to be too happy when she sees his current state. The poor little guy has quite the collection of cuts and bruises now. But as his messy nudges Aspen back toward his family, away from the Bergina's territory of course, he was getting a little bit too close for comfort. I think we should be ready to skip the turn one last time and see if perhaps our new era for the summer court is going to be just as lucky as our current. Oh, look at this! We did have one of the digging trunked babies, and she mutated the digging paw too. Excellent! So while the baby on the higher nest, Nana's child, has the cracker jaw instead, she does still have the digging paw too, so she can help out in smaller places. Her time would probably be better spent by these trees anyway. She can pick up all of those acorns just like her father, following in her father's footsteps. But the next name on my list is Dakota. Welcome to the tribe, little one. And then as for your sister, oh, has the big body too. So not only is she going to be very, very good at digging, but she should be able to keep herself warm enough to survive out in the mountains. I think we may have found one of the creatures that we'll take to our next island. As soon as we have enough to ensure that our food supplies won't dwindle, this little baby might just be our leading force. And as for her name, the next name on my list is Snowdrop. So once again, welcome to our tribe, and I can't wait to see what sort of adventures you're going to get into with your family. So yeah, I think we are super close now to being able to move off to the next island. There's not much left for us to do on this one. With the glaciers all gone, there aren't any new prehistoric genes for us to discover. So in order to progress with this challenge, we're going to have to find new mountains to conquer, and cross our fingers that our resources will be just as plentiful. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!